There's been a lot of reports about electric cars basically setting themselves on fire and exploding really quickly. And people believe that an EV can burn you to death because the fire can happen so quickly and at such a high temperature. However, there's other ways that we can look at this story. The owner of a Dodge Charger survived a blast that destroyed her car and even part of her home in Charlotte in the United States within the last few days. Here's what happened. Bit of a warning to people, don't repeat the same mistake. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. This explosion occurred 30 seconds after the car's owner, Rashonda Broom, basically got inside the car. She gets inside the car, 30 seconds later, she lights a cigarette. I personally am not a fan of lighting a cigarette inside your car, period, but here's a good reason not to do that. Unfortunately, she forgot that there was a propane tank being stored in the back seat. So propane tank, you can use them for barbecues or lots of different reasons. Anyway, she has a propane tank in the back seat. She lights the cigarette. The footage shows what happened next. This was from a neighbor's security camera, and it shows a huge blast that ripped through the Dodge, blowing out the windows and sending shrapnel flying into the air. Generally, we talk of shrapnel, we think about World War II or different wars, Iraq War, whatever it is, numerous wars, and we think, oh, that's how shrapnel happens. But actually, this is another way that we can cause shrapnel to fly through the air. However, things didn't stop here. Soon after, the Dodge caught fire, and that fire quickly spread to the house, destroying the garage and a large portion of the living quarters. You can see here that the entire house looks black. Amazingly, fire crews were able to put the fire out in the house pretty quickly, but obviously the Dodge, the car, was destroyed. It was a shell of itself. TV reported that Broom escaped the Charger shortly after the explosion, but that she suffered only, surprisingly, third-degree burns, which I was very surprised to hear this. Her sister, Amanda Linda, says it's fortunate that she didn't die, that the outcome wasn't worse. I agree. I'm amazed. She said this, "She's alive and well. We thank God that she didn't lose a limb or anything," Linda said. She's trying to just keep her pain under control and just her mental status. She's very traumatized from the situation that she caused, I might add. With everything considering, with the fire, the car, it could be worse. But we're thankful that it's not worse. Now, there was a man inside the house who tried to save the day. He actually rushed out with a fire extinguisher and tried to put out the flames in the car, but it didn't work. Amazing that it didn't work, that this guy was actually on the ball and so well had a fire extinguisher straight away, but it just wasn't enough to put out the flames. Broom's neighbor, Diego Ledbetter, quickly called 911 after the explosion. So this is basically the reason her house is still there, because a very, very kind neighbor just immediately called the fire brigade. Fire crews arrived on the scene. They couldn't save the Charger. Some of the house was burned as well, but they saved most of it. The intensity of the fire melted a section of vinyl siding on even a neighbor's house. Basically what happened is the Charger has incinerated itself, and the heat from the petrol, the gasoline inside the Charger, has made the car much hotter. That's made the fire apparently probably just as hot as an EV battery fire. So I think this proves the point here. It doesn't matter what car you've got. Once the battery or the gasoline tank lights itself on fire, you're sitting in something that could burn itself to the ground very, very quickly. So EVs, in my opinion, are really no different to gasoline-powered cars. But keep in mind the statistics. The statistics say this: gasoline-powered cars catch fire approximately 100 times more frequently on a per capita basis, as in per how many cars there are actually on the roads of that type of combustion vehicle, 100 times more often. So if you want to be safer, drive an EV. But really the key takeaway here, in my opinion, is don't light a cigarette when you've got a propane tank sitting in your car, whether or not you've got an EV or otherwise. That's not a very smart idea. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know. Thank you for watching.